would request the ushers to please ensure that all are well seated, and a cordial nod to our ushers as well. Thank you so much for orchestrating a seamless sea of seated intellect. Thank you so much. To commence today's event with traditional light lampening ceremony, I am honored to invite our esteemed President, Mr. Sunil Bhargav sir, and SYMP Chair, Mr. Rajiv Agrawal sir, on the stage, please. May I also request their gracious assistance in welcoming our distinguished speakers with rosebud. I would request Mr. Rekhy sir, an entrepreneur, board member and former Chief Executive Officer of KPMG in India. Inviting you, sir, on the stage. We would also like to invite Mr. Sudhanshu Mani sir, former General Manager, Integral Coach Factory, Chennai, Indian Railways. We would also invite Sanjay Grover sir, Director, AIMA. Please, sir, come on the stage. And we would be also welcoming Mr. Praveen Thakral sir, Chairman, Oriental Group of Institutions and Chancellor, Oriental University, Indore. We would also request Mr. Devansh Singh Yadav sir, CEO of IS University. I kindly request each of our distinguished guests to light the lamp sequentially during the recitation of our Saraswati Vandana by students from Oriental College as we seek the blessings of Ma Saraswati.
Ya kundendu tushar har dhavala, ya shubhre vastravrita, ya veeda vardand mandit kara, ya shvet padmasana, या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभुति भी देव सदा वंदिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेष जाड्यापहा या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभुति भी देव सदा वंदिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेष जाड्यापहा.
Thank you so much for a wonderful Saraswati Vandana. Would request Dr. Rupali Bajaj ma'am, please come on stage. Would like to invite Mr. Rajesh Tiwari sir, President of HRD Forum, MP. Mr. Rajesh Tiwari sir, President of HRD Forum, MP. We have with us Mr. Rajesh Tiwari sir on the stage, President of HRD Forum, MP. Big round of applause. I would also like to invite Mr. Praveen Thakral sir, Chairman of Oriental Institute and Chancellor of Oriental University, Indore. Sir, please come on stage for the memento. Big round of applause, everyone. We have with us Devansh Singh Yadav sir from IS University. Big round of applause. I request Mr. Sunil Bhargav sir to address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Nishta. A very good morning to all of you. Good morning. How are you feeling? Great. Okay. On behalf of Bhopal Management Association, I welcome you all to this very wonderful program called Shaping Young Minds program, which has been conceptualized by All India Management Association. Today, we have with us 4 shining beacons of India. In the hall, I can see 2 of them sitting in front of me, and I would be taking their names, and I would request all of you to welcome them with a big round of applause. So, before I take them, I am taking their names, and then you please proceed for the round of applause. He is the entrepreneur, board member, and former CEO of KPMG, Mr. Richard Rekhy. Mr. Richard Rekhy. Former general manager of Integral Coach Factory, Indian Railways, and also known as father of Vande Bharat, none other than Sudhanshu Mani. Right now, we don't have the other 2 speakers in the hall, but they are very much in Bhopal. Dr. Shikha Nehru Sharma, founder Nutrition Health India Limited. She is a nutritionist. And Ambassador Dr. Deepak Vora, a special advisor to the Prime Minister. They both will be coming post-lunch, but we welcome them in Bhopal. I would also like to welcome the Director of All India Management Association, Shri Sanjay Grover, and Manager, Shri Anubhav Sehgal. They have been guiding this program a lot for last many days. A warm welcome to them. I especially welcome all my sponsors who have been very helpful. And in the hall, I can see Mr. Praveen Thakral. He is the chairman of Oriental Groups of Institutions, and we welcome him. And we welcome Mr. Devansh Yadav. He is also, I think, the Chancellor or co-chairman of IES University. Then I welcome all the representatives of other sponsors from the Bansal College, Prestige Institution, RNTU, Scope, IES, HRD Forum, Ananya Package, LIC, Cerebral Lab, Supergrads, LIC. My hearty welcome goes to all the 4 moderators of the 4 sessions today. So, first of all, I would like to take the name of Dr. Shikha Bhargav. She is the director of Oriental College, and she is going to moderate the first session of Shri Richard Rekhy. Second session will be moderated by Dr. Mukesh Narula ji. He is the IT head of LNCT Group, and he will be moderating the second session of Shri Sudhanshu Mani. Third session will be taken by Kunal Gyani. He is the MD of Servo Foam. And fourth session will be taken by Sangeeta Johri, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor, RNTU. So we welcome all these 4 moderators also. We welcome all the electronic and print media representatives available in this hall. And last but not the least, I would welcome all my BMA family, their guests, and of course all the students sitting here for whom this program has been organized. आप सब लोग अपने लिए खूब ताली बजा सकते हैं. This program has been designed All India Management Association, which is the oldest management association of India, working from Delhi for last 67 years. And it has got 67 local management associations affiliated to it. It has got more than 35,000 members, more than 6,000 corporate members. And Bhopal Management Association got affiliated to it in 2006. For last 18 years, we have been conducting many programs with the guidance and help of support of All India Management Association. This program gives opportunity to young minds. When I say young minds, means students and professionals, particularly below the age of 30, to listen and to interact with the great achievers of India. It gives them opportunity to understand the difficulties which they have faced, what was the working atmosphere, what were the nitty-gritties of different professions. And it also gives them an opportunity to reinvent themselves and decide on their career options. Each speaker is going to speak they will be sharing their life lessons with you for about 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, there will be a 45-minute interactive session. I would say all of you to listen to them very carefully and try to involve yourself in the interactive sessions as much as possible in this limited time. So let this day be a day to remember throughout your life. So with this, once again, my heartfelt thanks, welcome to each of you, and I would finish my address with these 4 lines. ज़मीन पर बैठकर आसमान क्या देखता है? ज़मीन पर बैठकर आसमान क्या देखता है? पंखों को खोल, ज़माना सिर्फ उड़ान देखता है। लहरों की तो फितरत ही होती है शोर मचाने की, मंजिल उसी की होती है जो नज़रों में तूफान देखता है। Thank you very much.
We are about to begin with the first session. With this, I would like to welcome to the beginning of the first session with Mr. Richard Rekhy sir, an entrepreneur, board member and former Chief Executive Officer of KPMG India as a speaker, and Dr. Shikha Bhargav ma'am, Director and Professor, Oriental College of Management as the session chair. I would now request the student panelists to please take their seats on the stage first. Before I hand over the proceedings to Dr. Shikha Bhargav ma'am, few words about her. Dr. Shikha Bhargav ma'am is the Director and Professor at Oriental College of Management, Bhopal, holding a PhD in Management with over 23 years of work experience. She has authored books and published numerous research papers. With these few words, I now hand over the proceedings to Dr. Shikha Bhargav ma'am with a request to introduce Mr. Richard Rekhy sir and take the program forward.
Thank you, Dr. Nishtha. Good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to the AIMA SYMP, where we conquer to explore the ever-evolving landscape of management and leadership. I am truly honored to be moderator for this enlightening session. We are incredibly fortunate to have Mr. Richard Rekhy with us today. Mr. Richard is a qualified chartered accountant with over 40 years experience in consulting and professional services. He is the former CEO of KPMG India and was a member of Global Board and the Council of KPMG International, and also a member of KPMG Lower Gulf. Presently, he is an entrepreneur and holds board positions in different companies. He is a speaker at international and domestic forums. He is a member of various industry bodies, leading educational institutes, and is actively involved with the startup community as investor and a mentor. Now, without further ado, I invite our esteemed speaker, Mr. Richard Rekhy, for sharing his invaluable insights with us.
Good morning, everybody. I would, at the outset, like to thank AIMA and the Bhopal Management Association for inviting me here to speak. You know, from my young age, I have had the opportunity of sitting and listening to a lot of speakers. One of the things that I picked up very early in life was when I come for such sessions, I should take notes, because there will be words spoken here which will come in useful to you in your life, maybe later on. Maybe not in college, maybe when you start your job, but those will be very valuable for you. So may I suggest that as the different speakers will come and speak, and they're all from different walks of life, each and every one is very different, will have some of their experiences to share with you, and I'm sure they will be very useful for you as you build out your careers. So, as I look at all the young students, the future of India who are sitting here and coming to a Tier 2 city, which is Bhopal. This is the first time actually I've come to Bhopal. I've never been to Bhopal, and what amazed me yesterday was when I was driving from the airport, the first thing I saw was City of Lakes. And I was saying, wow, this is a place to be in. And the roads are pretty good. The drive from the airport was pretty good. So obviously your city is quite well developed, and I was hearing you have a lot of companies here and a lot of opportunities for you to get jobs. But as you sit in this crowd today, you need to ask yourself the question, what differentiates you from others? What is the kind of person you want to be? You know, the choices we make today will define who you will become tomorrow. You have to decide what you want to do in your life. So the choice you make today, so don't go blaming the world 10 years later, 20 years later, ki the world has been unfair to me. You will get what you sow. You will reap what you sow. So when you invest in your life now, I remember I was at one conversation maybe 20 years back, somebody came and asked me, what makes a successful professional, a successful individual? I only gave one answer. For the first 20 years of your life, work very hard. And if you work hard in those first 20 years, you will be able to reap the rewards of that. And there are many examples you can get from your own family members, your friends' parents. You see where they have reached in life. And each one gets what he does. So you need to be careful how we do that, because that is going to be very important for you. The other thing you do in this big crowd of people, and there are so many people sitting upstairs, sitting here in this crowd, you have to say that what makes you stand out in the crowd? Why will you be recognized from anybody else? What makes you different from others? Few points I want to leave to you before I get on to my conversation. There is no substitute for hard work. Can anybody in this audience tell me whether any person has died because of hard work? I would like to know, maybe I'm not heard about it, but if you can, in the Q&A, come and tell me, give me some examples if there is. There is no substitute for hard work. There is no shortcut in life. There is no shortcut in life, and I can tell you the stronger your foundation is, when the storm comes, you will be able to withstand it. The ones which are weak and which are full of faff fall. So build your foundation, become a strong person, have a moral compass that guides you. Honesty and integrity has to be your constant companion. Your only real currency in life is integrity, empathy, courage, and compassion. You know, we heard the word empathy, we kept hearing it. Post-COVID, we are hearing the word compassion. What is compassion? Compassion is empathy in action. There's no point saying, come on, how are you feeling? Good. But what are you doing to make that individual feel good? You need to ask yourself, what have you done? And as I stand here before you, each of you are coming from a very privileged class of people. Each of us are privileged to be here. You are here today because your parents have deemed that they're going to educate you in good institutes, and you're sitting here having the opportunity. How many children get this opportunity? You need to ask yourself this one question. For me, fortunately, I was very lucky when a big personal tragedy hit me. My life changed on that day. I was lucky. The tragedy wakes you up. And I realized that my life is not my life. And I need to see how I can help others. Because if you cannot get something, you have to see. So the one thing that I leave out here, if we have about 200 to 300 million of Indians who are in the middle class, and if each of us can take 5 people under our wing, take 5 people under our wing, we would have solved India's problem. But each of us have to do it. Each person sitting in this audience, you're going to get jobs, you're going to move up, you'll get the opportunity to do that. Don't miss that opportunity in life. And make sure that you're able to help those people who cannot get into this auditorium to be able to get into this auditorium. See what you do. Give back. You are here because somebody sacrificed. Your parents, whoever sacrificed. You have to ask, what are you going to do to bring others out here? You need to stay relevant in today's time. I remember when I used to be the CEO at KPMG, I used to say that every 2 to 3 years you reinvent yourself. Now I will say every month you need to reinvent yourself. Life is changing too fast. And when life changes too fast, you need to reinvent yourself. Otherwise, you will become, today when you look around, you find a lot of people who are between 40 and 50 are jobless. And they curse the world. They said, we have given so much to this company, why have we been asked to leave? They have become redundant. Technology has overtaken our lives. They did not change. The whole world kept shouting that COVID was the biggest disaster that hit this world, or the biggest change agent that hit this world. In my view, the bigger change agent than COVID was the internet. When the internet came, all the companies that did not change perished. The big brands perished. And I think it is time that we need to continue to remain relevant, because what you learn today is useless. What I learned as a chartered accountant did not help me more than 5 years. I had to continuously keep studying, keep improving, keep remaining relevant, or clients will not call you. Why would a client call a person who has no knowledge, who cannot give them any valuable advice? The very important point I want to tell you is, the biggest thing that you can take to any job or anything is your common sense. In my view, common sense is most uncommon. People are not able to use it. And that is what differentiates a winner from a loser. When you look at your resume earlier, people used to say, okay, what degrees you have? Okay, MBA, chartered accountant, engineer, whatever. That doesn't matter today. Today what matters, does your resume contain your energy, your ideas, your enthusiasm, and your hunger? I remember once when I was working at Arthur Andersen and we were trying to win this client. Actually, the client had already decided to appoint another firm at that time, and we pitched in very late. Towards the end, the promoter told the team from Andersen, I was also part of that team, that you should compliment yourself that I'm rethinking about who should be my advisor or consultant. And I asked him, sir, it's not about we should compliment, how do we win the job? And he told me, he took me into another room and we had a discussion. It was basically a commercial discussion. But I asked him, why did you choose us? And he said, the hunger you showed made me differentiated you from your competitors. And I think that is going to differentiate you as you go for your job. Your skills, your hunger, your energy, your enthusiasm is something we should never lead. I was lucky, very early in my life, working life. After I became a chartered accountant, I found my mentor. I started my career in a small firm, a very small firm in India called Ratan S. Mama and Company. And let me tell you, I'm very proud of it. And that's where I found my first mentor. I found other mentors came into my life. They came and touched my life in somewhere. But this person influenced my life completely. Whatever I am today is because of this individual, though he never mentored me. But I learned from him. I observed him. He liked me as an individual, and I kept learning from him, and I kept improving and picking up those things. So you need to find a mentor very early in your life as you go out for your jobs. I was listening to the NVIDIA CEO's talk the other day. I don't know whether you've seen this video clip, is quite viral today everywhere. NVIDIA CEO. Have you heard of NVIDIA? How many of you have heard of NVIDIA here? You not heard of it? Okay, there are a few people in this crowd. It is an AI services company. What NVIDIA is doing today, Intel was going to do it. But the Intel board did not feel it's right to invest in it. NVIDIA went and invested. Today they are a $2 trillion company. They are the last one to join the Magnificent Seven. They are in the top 7 companies, valued companies in the world. And it is a very recent addition. So I was listening to the CEO. He was saying that for himself, he always had low expectations. He had very low expectations. He's saying people who have high expectations have very low resilience because they hate to fail. They fall. If they fail, they run away. They leave that and they go and do something else. That's the differentiation. So he said, resilience makes you successful. This new word of resilience that has come out, it again came in the post-COVID era. when it got its importance. Resilience makes you successful. Pain and suffering is a part of life. In fact, pain and suffering defines your character. It defines who you will go and become. And greatness comes from character and not intelligence. I have another word to this. Reputation is what people think about you. Your character is who you are. Yeah, no. So, no, it's okay. I'm just giving some. Acha, I got a thing that I'm talking too much, so I have to go faster. But I just thought I wanted to, because I'm seeing students sitting here in front of me, I just wanted to leave these few nuggets for you as we go along. What I'm going to do over the next few slides is going to tell you stories. Each story has got a message. And I want you to take those messages away from here. Okay. Today we live in a world of unknown unknowns. We live in a world of unknown unknowns. So what is this world? Just imagine you driving a car and somebody puts blindfolds you. How will you drive the car? We live in that kind of world. Leaders are leading a world of unknown unknowns. Who would have thought? Who would have ever in their wildest imagination have thought that the world's first and largest sustainable futuristic city is going to come up in Saudi Arabia? You would have thought it would come up in one of the developed countries of the world, US, UK, somewhere out there, Germany. It's called NEOM. It is going to be the most connected futuristic city in the world. It is going to have everything which is going to be carbon neutral. It is going to be energy saver. Everything that you go, what we are talking about today, it is going to be that. I come from Bangalore. I live in Bangalore, a city which used to have 280 lakes. I don't know how many lakes Bhopal has, but Bangalore used to have 280 lakes. Now there are no 280 lakes, by the way. But who would have thought that a city with 280 lakes and called the Garden City is today without water? A huge water crisis. Who would have thought about it? I mean, I'm just trying to tell you the world we live in. Thousands of children have been massacred in Gaza, and the world stood back as mute spectators to it. Innocent children were killed. The world did not say anything. The world, all the so-called democratic world that we live in, just stood back and did not think, what have those children, innocent children, done to be killed? So this is the world we live in, so we have to understand where we live. Europe is going to become the fastest warming city in the world. The warm thing which is going to come up in Europe. So we live in a world that is changing, which is redefining itself. I was reading this very nice thing by Gerd Leonard, who I follow. If you believe in technology and you want to follow a futuristic technologist, it's Gerd Leonard. He's a German Swiss, and he talks about the future of technology. He used a word which stayed with me forever. What was science fiction yesterday is reality today. And so if you want to know what is the future, please watch science fiction. And to share with you, one of the very top Indian industrialists watches science fiction movies every second day. And we know where his company has gone. He is predicting the future before you and I even know about it, because he's seeing those science fiction, he's making them into reality, he's taking his company to there where nobody has ever gone. And only those who actually take it there will be able to know what it means. So what are the lessons learned over these years? Right from the Enron failure, I'm talking the Enron because Enron was a failure which personally impacted me. I used to work in a firm called Arthur Andersen, which I still say is the best. It is not existence, but was the best accounting and consulting firm in the world. No accounting and consulting firm has matched Arthur Andersen. And I can tell you this firm diminished on the day with Enron. Arthur Andersen also disappeared from the earth. So what was defined, whether Enron, whether Lehman Brothers, whether our Indian startups which have gone bust, those big startups, all the poster boys of our generation, the Paytms, the Baijus, they've all disappeared. What defined them? Arrogant and dictatorial leadership. Arrogant and dictatorial leadership is the worst thing that can happen to anybody. And please understand, when you run large organizations, you need super smart people. You need super smart people like what Steve Jobs did. And he built an institution which far outlasted him. Apple, which was the first $1 trillion company, when you know that Indian entire stock market was 3 trillion, Apple, one stock is 3 trillion. You can imagine what he built. And this has been built long after he has died, and it continues. Now Apple is a bit struggling, but it was continuing to grow till some time back. So we are just getting the T20 World Cup. Indian team has been announced. A lot of back and forth on who should have been in the team, who should not have been in the team. And when we talk of T20, T20 is the format today we live in, the world we live in. All of us watch. The people who are not even cricket enthusiasts watch T20 because it's entertainment, right? So for T20, we need a T21 leadership. Our response is a T21 leadership, a 21st century leadership. And that 21st century leadership is not defined by age. When we have 19 and 20-year-old people putting up successful startups in India, that is what is it. Mark Zuckerberg formed Facebook when he was in college. That is something that we need to take away. So what is this new age leadership all about? I want to start with a story of the Sri Lanka cricket team. The World Cup in 1996. I want to take you back to the 1996 World Cup, which changed cricket forever. That was when new players emerged. I'll talk about it. But in the 1996, what happened? Sri Lanka team was not doing well, the run-up to the World Cup. It was a team which was not at all in form. So what did the coach? Dave Watmore was the coach. He told his players, listen, just go and enjoy your cricket. Just go there. I mean, there was no hope that Sri Lanka would win. Sri Lanka won the World Cup. I'm going to give you the story. Won the World Cup in 1996, demolishing India in the semi-finals. We know what happened at Eden Gardens when there was the fire, the stadium was put on fire. Then they went and beat Australia in the finals. But what did Dave Watmore do? He took his two pinch hitters, who were batsmen number 7 and 8, Sanat Jasuria and Rumesh Kalvataram, and he told them, go and open the batting. Because he used the 30-yard bowling that the fielders will not, you can't keep fielders outside the 30-yard hit. And he knew these people could hit the ball. And he said, go and hit. That started a new way of cricket opening. And that's when we see Sachin Tendulkar go and start to open the batting for India. Because you realize the advantage you get by doing it. Sanat Jasuria and Rumesh both demolished careers, demolished all the reputations that day bowlers came with as they went and took Sri Lanka into the final. And the second big thing that he did was he brought spin bowling into the middle overs, the crucial middle overs, when he completely choked the batting of the opposition. These were the two big things he did, and this is the format which is still being followed in the 50-over match. This person started it, Dave Watmore. Remember this, 1996, a team which had no hope to win. He made it win. So, and what he did was he empowered his team. He was the coach, he guided them, stayed away. And it was Arjuna Ranatunga who was the captain of the team, who just guided the team at that time. And so it is about how do you empower your people. And when we empower our people, we get greatness out of them. We need to have the ability to think on our feet. Today, when there is no time to think. Everything is moving too fast, and we need to make sure that we are able to move out. We need innovative and out-of-box thinkers. Earlier, innovation We have Mr. Mani here who brought the Vande Bharat, who was the father or the creator of Vande Bharat, the beautiful trains that some of us may have experienced. But this requires innovative thinking, out-of-box thinking. Because when you have nothing like that, how do you build it? And I think that's what we all need to do in our life as we continue to do. We need to be mobile. Remember this. Mobility, remember this word. If there's one thing that you'll take away today from my talk, it's mobility. If we are mobile, physically and in mindset, you will be successful. Mobility is a very powerful thing. I've been lucky. I'd never ever stopped my organization from sending me anywhere. And I learned each time, and I grew because of that. It's not about resources, it's about being resourceful. So we all have limited resources, all of us have. So how are we resourceful using those limited resources? Secondly, leaders need to be great communicators. They need to communicate very well. They need to be able to get their message across and not hide when the chips are down. A true leader will stand up, take accountability, and when even the chips are down and is to give the worst message, he will be honest and he will be open. And he will tell his people, today suppose I'm sitting here and this is a company, and I will come and be very honest and say we're having challenges. Any of you have got some good ideas, give it to me. Together we will make this company strong again. I think that's what leaders need to do, not go into hiding. It's not about what reputation are you protecting. If the leader is found missing at the time of a crisis. All weak leaders, remember this, all weak leaders go missing in a crisis. They are not seen. And when the crisis is blown over, like every crisis will, because the sun rises every morning, crisis also will go and a new thing will come. The leader suddenly appears and says, I did everything. The question that we need to ask them, what did you do? And that comes from, and all successful companies now, we can see how they have done. Fairness is very important. Fairness, how we treat people. When you sit in that position, how fair are you? You don't like him. I don't like this person. But when I'm sitting in that position, I've got to be fair to him when I'm deciding his compensation or whatever. We have to build trust. One day I appointed somebody to lead a practice. And I told him the biggest feedback I'm getting about you is that people don't trust you. He's saying, how do I build trust? I said, trust cannot be taught. Trust is through your actions. What you say and what you do should be exactly the same. Certain things are never taught, they are there for us. See this picture? We keep saying nothing is happening in my career. We are working very hard, but nothing is happening. This is the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. In the first 5 years, see the growth. You can hardly see it. You think, okay, what have I done? Why have I wasted so much money? 5 years I'm toiling to put this bamboo tree up. It's not growing. And then look, in the 5th year, in 6 weeks, it becomes 90 feet tall. So did the bamboo tree grow in 6 weeks? Or did it grow in that 5 years and 6 weeks? So that is a question we need to ask ourselves. We need to work hard. The results will come at some point. I can tell you one thing very clearly. From my personal experience, hard work has never gone unrewarded. You may not get it at that time. You may get it at some other time. But that reward comes to you. Continue to work hard. Do not bother about title. Do not bother about company. Do not bother about money. I just want to leave these points to you. Do not bother about title. Do not bother about company. Do not bother about the money you get. Money will chase you. And I can promise you that. If you are good, money will chase you. You never go back and say that I was overpaid. None of you are working. Some of you may be working who are sitting in the front, in the audience. But, we never come and say that we were overpaid. But that's what life is. And it's a marathon. It's not. But what we need is purpose, commitment, and energy. So bamboo tree, Chinese bamboo tree, just remember it. This is one of my favorite stories. This was the Mumbai terrorist attack on the Taj Mahal Hotel. You may remember this attack in which few terrorists came into Bombay actually and attacked, but this story is a very good story I want to share with you because the story of a hotel, and I will tell you why I'm telling this story. On that day, never in the history of the world, it is documented, never in the history of the world, in a crisis, have so many heroes emerged. Ordinary people who became heroes on that day. The guests were in the hotel. The terrorists were blindly shooting. They had taken over the old wing of the Taj, in which, very sad, the general manager of the hotel, Mr. Karambir Singh Kang, his wife and 2 sons were in the room upstairs and they were killed. He was the general manager of the hotel. And he called his father and told him, I've lost my family. They have been killed by the terrorist. His father told him, Beta, stay there and save as many lives as you can. And that's exactly what he did for the next 3 days and 2 nights. Knowing that his family was lying dead upstairs in one of the rooms, he stayed there to help the guest escape. What made those chefs stand in the way of between the terrorist and the guest and took the bullets on their, they don't even know who the guest is. They took the bullets on their body. About that telephone receptionist who was given an escape route, she refused to take it. She said, I need to guide my guest. What made all these people do? Then they found out later on, at the end of it, so number of people died on that day. Employees who had nothing to do with it. They could have run away. That day, all those employees could run away. They knew the escape routes. They knew the safety routes. They could have all run away. But they stayed there to save their guest. And that day, Taj would have lost many more employees, many more guests. But the guests died were very few because of these employees, these everyday heroes as I called. So Harvard did a business study and found out that these people, that Taj used to hire people from second-tier cities. And they would go to the schools where these children studied to find out about their character. They hired people for their character. And they hired people who had empathy, who had kindness. It was not people who wanted to make big money, but who wanted to have a life which was beyond money. On that day, that character stood out. That kindness stood out. Because what they found was in the various interactions the hotel staff have with their guests, on an average they do 42 interactions. They found 42 interactions with guests. Each interaction has to be good. And that's what it actually came out. So, and this story is a lesson for all corporates as they go to hire their people. The next story I want to talk to you about Amul. Amul is a cooperative society, the greatest. Maybe you've heard of Amul. You go and eat the Amul ice cream, you drink the Amul milk, you eat the Amul cheese, you eat the Amul butter. Even I did not know this story till I went to the Amul factory at Anand and I met the MD of the company. And he told me the story. He told me the story of Amul. And I told him the story has to be told to every Indian. Because if every Indian hears this story, they will stop buying every other multinational product. They will buy an Amul product. This company believes in one philosophy: maximum profit to the people who supply the milk to Amul. Maximum profit. There were 3 people who were responsible for this. One was Tribhuvan Das Patel, Mr. Kurian, and Mr. Dalaya, who was a technical guy because what they did was they said, we'll create these cooperatives. And by the way, just for your information, all these cooperatives are run by women, not by men. And they are very strong negotiators. So they negotiate and they get the best price for the milk, the highest price. Amul sells the product to you at the cheapest. At the cheapest price. They are not interested in the profit. The profit should be sufficient to pay the milk vendors and for them to do their R&D. But they are not here to make, and they got a great distribution system. They have the best advertisement. I don't know whether you have seen those utterly butterly ads of that small little girl who's now 56 years old, because this ad started 56 years back. But that ad still continues. That girl's picture still comes and encapsulates us. They take a very relevant issue and they make a good ad out of it. So what did they bring out was consistent quality. You see, when he told me how they make the ice cream, how they make their cheese, I stopped buying everything else because I said, this is the real, item that you should be having for yourself. So the Amul story is a great story. Just imagine if this story is implemented across the world, across India. How many more successful for the whole agri sector we could actually create a new revolution which was created there. This is a story on values lived. This is a marathon run which is happening. At the back is the runner from Spain called Ivan Fernandez. In front of him is the Kenyan athlete called Abe Muthai as they call him. He was winning the race, but because of language, he could not see the finish line. And he stopped. He stopped midway. And what the Spanish runner did, he pushed him. He tried to tell him, but they were not able to converse in a language. So he took him and pushed him to the finish line. The journalist after that asked him, you could have won the race. Why did you not win it? So he said, what is the value of winning this race? What will I go and tell my community? What is the value of that medal I would have got? And most important, what would my mother think of me? Imagine this athlete who could have won the race, thought values was more important, and that's what I want to tell you about values. Today it is not about being legally right. We can be legally right. We have to ask ourselves, are we ethically right? I'll give you a small story of Starbucks. Starbucks, we all have Starbucks coffee. I'm sure at some point of time we drunk Starbucks coffee. Starbucks is operating in UK. Financial Times at the top carries a story. Starbucks has run such a big operation in UK, does not pay £1 in income tax. Does not pay £1 tax. So what happened the next day? People stopped going to Starbucks. The Starbucks stores were 50% on day one. Second day, hardly 5% of people went to the Starbucks stores. And they said, we do not want to drink coffee from an unethical company. We will go and drink coffee somewhere. Not that Starbucks is the best coffee also, but the point is they stopped going to Starbucks. What did Starbucks do then? After 1 week, they put 20 million pounds they paid to UK as tax. And they said, we don't owe it, but we are paying it. And they put it in the papers that we are paying 20 million pounds. People went back to the stores. It is about being ethically right. It's not about being legally right. The point I want to make about, so yes, the law allows you to do this. But does your ethics say it's right to do it? Think about it. Think whenever you're taking a decision, pass it through a prism of ethics. This is the Titanic story. Now, we have read the Titanic story, we have heard many. I just want to tell you two things that happened there. There was a millionaire called John Jacob Astor who was allowed to escape in that boat. He saw two frightened children there. He stood back, let those children take his place. Millionaire, he could have bought 30 Titanics. The kind of money he had, he could have bought 30 Titanics. He lost his life that day. And the second family, which was also a millionaire in those days, and millionaire means billionaire in today's time, just for your information, was the Macy. Anybody who's been to America knows about the Macy store. The Macy store owner, both husband and wife were there, and they gave their space to others to go and escape. And they died on that ship. So it is all about character standing out, and they decided not to compromise their moral values because they wanted others to escape. They said, if there are more boats coming, we will go in the next boat. No boat came, and they died. But this is billionaires and millionaires who give up their life, but who leave a legacy. Today, we wouldn't have spoken about them if they had not done this. Success does not come easy, as we can see it. When we see Apple, what we think? $1 trillion company, aspirational brand, the phone which cannot be hacked. I don't know how many of you have read it, that Arvind Kejriwal, who has been arrested, the authorities are trying to get into his Apple phone. and they have asked Apple, how do you open this phone? They can't open it. They can't hack it. And Apple has refused to give them the right to it because that is a privacy agreement you sign with your customers. But a phone that cannot, when you see all the hacking happening, all the cybersecurity is one of the biggest risks of the world. Have you ever heard of Apple phone being hacked? You can just imagine what a sound, what a solid phone this individual has built, the quality that he put. And also I want to tell all the students sitting here, the greatest decision taken by any board in the world, was taken by the chairman of Apple 10 years after Steve Jobs was fired from Apple. And Apple was struggling in those days. He took a decision, I'm going to talk to Steve and ask him to come back. And the board was not in agreement with it. They're saying Steve Jobs is an arrogant person, we don't want him back here again. So the chairman goes and meets Steve Jobs and tells him, listen, you got too many products in the market, we'll have to cut down your products. And the next thing that you have to do is fire the board. Fire the board, the entire board other than you. Then he compromised with one more board member. So the rest of the board was fired. What Steve Jobs went on to do, we know. He created history. He built a company that is, he never compromised on quality. He never compromised on quality. And he was the greatest communicator. I do not know how many of you have stayed up late in the night watching the launch of the Apple products. When Steve Jobs used to do it, it never had the fancy what it is today, but it was iconic. When he used to launch the product, stand up there and first time showed their iPhone to the world. The greatest invention, in my view, was the iPhone, which has changed the way the world is. And always had the courage to take the most difficult decisions. This person you recognize, I hope. Do you recognize her? J.K. Rowling, a life full of failures till she was 30 years old. Broken marriage, attempted suicide, no job, lived off dole because the UK government gives dole, had no money to support her child which came out of the first marriage which was broken. And then she wrote the book which ultimately went on to become Harry Potter, rejected by 12 publishers. The only reason Pillsbury published that book, when the owner of Pillsbury got the manuscript, he gave one of the chapters to his daughter to read. And she said, give me more. Then he realized the children are going to like this book. So he signed up J.K. Rowling and he told her, okay, I'm signing you up, we are going to publish your book, but please get a job. This book will not get you. We know that she became the first billion-dollar woman author. She became the first billion-dollar woman author. And what does she do with her money? She gives it back to charity. She said, I'm a creation of this society. I need to help others. Like I was at some point of time in my life, I want to help others. And that's what greatness is all about. It's not about greed. It's not about going and sitting in private jets, but it's about what we can do for society. Secondly, for corporates, the one advice out here is always help your employees take the fear out of failure. Celebrate failure. If you don't celebrate failure, you will never get innovation. How do you support your employees? I'll give one incident I can give you one personal incident I'll share with you. We had one a lady partner who was running a very large account for us, and we had to give up that account, consulting account, because we got the global audit. And suddenly she and a team of 100 people were jobless. They had no work. And she came and asked me, are you going to fire me? I said, why? I said, for the next 1 year, whatever time it takes, I'll get you another account. But you stay on, you did a great job in the previous account and you helped us win that global audit. And so we need to stand by our people in difficult times. We don't need to abandon them when the times become tough and we are not there. I don't know how much time is it over? I can move faster. Okay, this is the how much time do I have? 5-10 minutes? Or?
We have 20 minutes for the session to finish, including Q&A.
Okay. Okay, I think the time is running out. So this is the story of Nelson Mandela, how he inspired. This particular person out here, you see Francois Pierre, is the captain of the South African rugby team. 96, Sri Lanka won the World Cup. Unexpectedly. 95, South Africa won the Rugby World Cup unexpectedly. Inspired by Nelson Mandela. So when the captain, when his girlfriend asked him, what did the president want from you? He didn't say anything. But his eyes told me he wants us to win the World Cup. So that was the inspiration. Nelson Mandela was with the team. And on the day they won the World Cup, when they actually reached the final and they won it, he wore the 6 number jersey, which was the captain's jersey. The team was so inspired, they did much beyond their expectation. They played against the All Blacks, the New Zealand team, which was the #1 team in the world, and they won it. This is the story of Charles Plum. He was a fighter pilot who was shot down over Vietnam, and he met this person at a restaurant many times after he escaped. And this person comes up and says, are you Plum? He says, yes, I am Plum. So he said, you were shot over Vietnam. He's saying, how do you know? He's saying, I packed your parachute. The point is, each of us need to find the person who will pack our parachute, who will be there for us to help us. You can't fight life alone. After that, Charles Plum got an inspiration and he started telling the story all over and spoke a lot on his life as a fighter pilot. I will just go through fast because I think... So this is the story of Oberoi's, the Oberoi group of hotels. So they say you chase perfection. If you don't get it, at least you get excellence. So if you have stayed in an Oberoi hotel, you can see all what I've written there: professionalism, discipline, high quality, anticipate. They have something called anticipatory service. You want something, they anticipated before you need it. There's a Harvard case study on this also, which talks about it. This one I want to talk about this one because this is important. The 5-ball theory. Each of us are juggling 5 balls in our life all the time. We are juggling. Just imagine having 5 balls in your hand and you're juggling it. Can you balance all of them? Just think about it. The 5 balls are what? Family, health, friends, and spirituality. And job, work. All the 4 balls are glass balls. The job ball is a rubber ball. It can bounce back. Even if it falls, it will bounce back. The other 4 are glass. Once it falls, it cracks and breaks. So we need to see how we balance our life and not be one mind focused. And as you're getting into your careers, please remember this 5-ball theory. You need to be a complete human being. It's just not about work. If you love your work, do it. I'm not saying no. But learn how to work smartly and balance your life. Bring work-life harmony back into your this thing. I would just like to end by talking about a few things. So many times we say, oh, we need to be self-confident. And confidence, if we have, then you have to have belief in yourself. But many times, by just recalling how we succeeded sometimes in life will also be important. Stop comparing yourself with others. Stop comparing yourself with others. Doesn't help. How does it help you? Each of us are unique. Each of us have our own story to tell. Let's work on our own story. Surround yourself with positive people. There are givers and takers. Learn to become a giver in life. Yes, we will be takers many times. As we grow up, we are takers. But learn to become a giver finally. Face your fears. Become fearless. Be courageous. Have a spine. We need to have a spine. And we should know when to say no. Don't be a yes man. Don't be a yes person. No, learn when to say no. Build meaningful relationships and not be transactional. Just imagine, so you're transactional. Will somebody even talk to you? He will not talk to you after some time. But if you build a relationship in which you are giving, you don't expect anything. If you have low expectations, you will be happy. Things will come back to you. Nobody's a fool not to give it back to you. Always put 10% extra into your life. Always put 10% extra. Destiny is in your hands. Nobody writes your destiny. You write your own destiny. So your destiny is in your hand. Make sure the wheel of the car which you are driving is in your hands. The story that you're writing, the pen is in your hand. You write it, not somebody else writes it. And the last point, the last 2 points, what I want to say, life is a circle. All that goes up comes down. Everything that goes up comes down. Treat people with respect on your way up. That's the way you will be treated on your way down. When all your titles are stripped from you and you walk down that road and people still respect you, that is what you have earned. Not while you were in that position of power. And never sell anything that you would not buy. Never sell anything that you would not buy. Just keep this quote in mind, Lyndon B. Johnson. Yesterday is not ours to recover, but tomorrow's is ours to win or lose. Thank you very much.